So if you're interested in hearing how somebody stole $30,000 from me without knowing over the course of the past 12 months, you are going to love today's video. So this video falls under two categories. Number one, people suck and are kind of scumbags. And number two, I'm an idiot. And I should have caught this literally a year ago. Identity theft is everywhere, right? Everybody's out there trying to steal your shit. And it's your job to protect yourself. It's your job to make sure that you're paying attention. Because if you let your guard down for a second, which is what I did, somebody can possibly take advantage of you and possibly ruin your credit. I've had people catfish using my identity and call my wife and be like, hey, I've got a date with your husband tonight. Like, I've had my fair share of people that have done dirty shit to me. And today I want to tell you about one particular one that basically I'm still dealing with as we speak. So about 2 weeks ago, I log into my bank account and so let me back up for a second. I've got a few bank accounts, right? I've got different businesses, I've got personal accounts, and every business has its own account. And some accounts I'm looking at super diligently. I've got an assistant, Debbie, who pays attention to all the transactions and Pete and Pedro, but every transaction I pretty much do on Pete and Pedro in terms of expenses goes on my American Express Platinum card. If you are a business and you don't have an American Express, I can't even talk, I'm so excited about Amex points. If you don't have an Amex, right, you need to get one, because this bad boy not only is great because you can basically buy all the things you need to buy for your business on this card, you get points. Now, how you redeem them, it's up to you. My wife, I call her the Amazon Queen, because, and don't even start like you're getting ripped off. You shouldn't have your Amazon points, or use your points for Amazon. It's a better, no, I don't care. The fact that my wife can go on and shop for free on Amazon off the money I spend at Pete and Pedro, good. I'm spending on average around $300,000 to $400,000 a month on my Pete and Pedro Amex. It's a ton of money, right? I'm buying inventory, I'm buying, shipping, I'm buying advertising, like everything goes on that card, and I get points, and then my wife, she just goes crazy and buys all sorts of fun, sexy stuff on Amazon for free. She's always like, it's free. I'm like, whatever. Somebody today asked me, the Amazon driver, is this a business? I'm like, no, this is my house. You're just dropping way more packages off than you need. Anyway, long story short, I used to actually use a debit card for my business, right? And then my buddy Ryan Masters was like, no, you got to get an Amex, dude. I'm like, why? But I use my debit. He's like, do you not want free shit? I'm like, yeah. And so the Amex has been amazing because I've got like a $500,000 limit that I could charge. If I needed more, they'd give me more, but it's amazing to basically have that card and have all of my expenses go there. And so it's easy, right? And if somebody makes a fraudulent transaction on a credit card, boom, it's super easy to basically say, no, rejected, right? And you get your money back and everything is cool. All right, Debbie and Pete and Pedro, she goes through all my expenses. She keeps a every dollar record of everything that is spent, everything that's coming out, everything. If she doesn't understand a transaction or she's not sure, she's asking me. All right, that account is itself, right? But then I've got Alpha M, I've got A Marina, I've got Pete, I used to have Enemy, what else do I have? I've got my own personal accounts, I've got Menfluential, I've got a bunch of accounts, right? Well, there's one account that I don't really look at all that often. Basically, what I pay out of this account is my salary, and my 401k, and my wife's 401k, my mom's 401k. Like, I also pay some taxes out of it, but I always basically like to keep like $50,000 in there. And so what happens is basically once a week I'll go and I'll look, I'll be like, okay, there's 50,000. Okay, there's not 50,000. I put money in, right? And so that's kind of how I work. I'm not in there. I'm not really buying many things on that account other than some little things like gas, because one of my vehicles that I have is like a company car and stuff like that. So small, minor little things. Well, here's where things get interesting. The other day, and I'm sorry, once again, it's all over the place, Brain Dump Central. This is my outlet, so thank you. And also, if you haven't subscribed to the Alpha Empire channel, do it, because I'm always dropping nuggets of knowledge and how my mistakes can help you be better and not do some of the stupid ass shit that I've done. Anyway, so I log on to this account to look to see, okay, do I have $50,000 in there? And all of a sudden, the first transaction is $1,200 for T-Mobile. I'm like, wait a second. I use T-Mobile, but what did I buy, right? You ever do that? Do you ever look at your account and you're like, wait, what did I spend $7.50 on? What did I do? Like, it didn't compute. Then I look at the transaction before and it was like $120 to some like name of something that I just didn't know. And I'm like, I'm scratching my head. I'm like, what is going on here? Now, because it was T-Mobile, I knew something was, I suspected something was funky, right? That was kind of like my radar because I've had my identity stolen before. Somebody opened a Verizon account in my name and basically had a new phone shipped to their address. I got the bill and I was like, wait a second, I don't have Verizon. I go to the police station, I go, I'd like to file a report. Can you go arrest this person? They're like, no, it doesn't work like that. So anyway, at that point, I went and I got LifeLock to monitor everything, and that's something that I recommend every single one of you do. Whether or not it's Aura or LifeLock or whatever credit monitoring and fraud protection you need, you should get it. That would not have helped me or didn't help me, though, in the situation that I'm dealing with. So anyway, I see this T-Mobile expense. I'm like, wait, I didn't do that. And then I'm like, oh, crap, somebody's got my card. And then I start looking, and there were all of these charges, like $500, $300, $220. Georgia Power was paid like 3 times in a day. All right, Comcast bills getting paid. Like, I started going back. I called my bank. I said, oh my God, somebody's got my credit card or my debit card. I got to stop them. They're like, it's not a debit card transaction. It's using your checking account number and your routing number. And I'm like, no. And so he's like, yeah, so we should probably freeze this. And we need to basically go through the whole process of you need to tell me what transactions are fraudulent, we'll dispute them, and we'll figure this out. Well, guess how many transactions there were? When I started going back and looking, there were 90 transactions dating back a year. When it started, it was small, right? $50, $35, right? Every other week or whatever. Never really paid attention because A, I'm not really paying attention to that account, and when it's small little money, you don't really think about it, right? At least I didn't. Now, some people are like, yo, $35 is not little money, and I get it because I've been there, brother, I promise. $35 at a time in my life might as well have been $1 million. There were a lot of times that I didn't have $35 to my name. Anyway, now I've got more. I've got more than that. And so paying attention to these little numbers, I just didn't see it. And plus, this account, I'm not in there all the time looking at it. I'm basically logging in, seeing my account, okay, I got enough, and then I'm moving on, right? Well, there were 90 transactions dating back about, like I said, a year. And it was so crazy. It was so alarming, and I felt like such an asshole because I should have seen this. I should have paid attention. And I'm so like embarrassed to actually do a video, but I feel like there's probably a business lesson or a life lesson in this that you need to learn from my ignorance or me not paying attention. You've got to pay attention. You've got to monitor these things. And so, long story short, it equated to like $25,000, $30,000. I'm still in the process of them like charging or getting my money back. I had to spend like an hour and a half in the bank getting a new account set up and all that stuff. But I was sitting there talking to the banker lady, and I was like, so it should be pretty easy to find this person. What they're doing, let me just tell you this is crazy. It's a new like scam where they'll just get your check number, right? How many times have you like gotten an old checkbook, right, and just like tossed it? Or a avoided check, right, that you don't shred, or a check that comes back to you and you just like toss the envelope, you don't pay attention. How many times does that happen, right? I do it all the time because I never thought that this could be an issue. Anyway, what this person was doing, because they weren't getting stopped and it wasn't getting rejected, they started then paying their friends' accounts and maybe like making money off of it. Now, let me explain how that would work. So basically, they've got this open checkbook, right? And so they know that they can pay like certain accounts like Georgia Power or, Comcast, certain bills online. There was also like another like credit card thing that they would basically do online and then get sent like a $500 like gift card. It was crazy. There were also charges from their apartment complex. And so anyway, if they would go to somebody and be like, hey, how much is your Comcast? And somebody would be like, $100. And they'd be like, I'll tell you what, give me $50 cash and I'll pay your bill. Right? That's how a lot of people do it with like food stamps. There are all sorts of scams. And the truth is, the amount of creativity that goes on with some of these idiots to steal your money, if they would channel that, in working in order to be successful, they would be wildly successful. But it's easier, and they would rather steal from somebody good like you or me as opposed to working hard to figure it out. But anyway, that's beside the point. There are horrible, horrible, horrible people in this world, right? Now, I go to my banker, I say, hey, this should be pretty easy, slam dunk, right? You know exactly who they are. They charge like their rent 1 month on the card. You know their apartment complex. You know their apartment number. You've got their Comcast bill. You've got their Georgia Power bill. Like, this person is not hard to find. Are you going to arrest them? Are you going to go after them? And she looked at me and she laughed. She goes, we've got insurance for this. I go, you've got insurance for this? Does that mean that they're not gonna go after these people and arrest them and make them stop? She's like, probably not. And that's when it hit me. It's got to be big enough that it's worth whoever's time and resources, energy to actually pursue and prosecute or investigate these frauds. And most of the time it's small money, small issues. And so they never do it, and the person gets away with it. For me, they got away with it for literally a year and took like $30,000 that I didn't pay attention to because I am not reconciling that account all the time. The way that it works, like it's like an umbrella company for some of my other companies, and I basically send it cash when I need to. I explained that earlier. And so I feel like an idiot. And I just wanted to kind of tell you kind of my experience, because I don't know if you're going to get any value from this whatsoever, but you've got to protect yourself and you've got to look at things. All right, I've got a friend, Antonio Centeno, will openly say, I don't pay attention to my accounts. I don't look at them. That's my accountant's job. Like, he doesn't look, right? Me, I look a lot in certain accounts, but I didn't in this other. And so somebody else, I forget who it was, said one of the problems with having, a lot of money or more money is that you don't miss small money. And that's why fraud a lot of times can happen. I was talking to the woman at the bank. She goes, one of my other clients had it going on for literally like 2 years, and they stole like $100,000. It was an attorney's office. Typically, it's business accounts because business accounts are easier. A lot more expenses are being paid and flowing through it. But it just got me thinking, and it got me pissed off a little bit. It got me pissed off mainly at myself. And it also just made me sad that there are people out there that are just scumbags. Like I said, I've had my identity stolen a few times. There was one time where somebody used my profile picture and all my information to set up a dating profile, and they were dating in Florida, and some woman, called my wife. She found my wife. She called her on the phone or sent her a Facebook message and said, hey, I've got a date with your husband tonight. And my wife's like, what? What are you talking about, right? You think it's a good thing she was in Florida. And it also said that I was like 6'2" on the profile. So good thing that certain things were not true, but long story short, there are shitty people out there. The amount of scams that are out there are just unbelievable. Protect yourself. Get some type of fraud or credit monitoring service. It is going to pay off, because if somebody does steal your shit, right, whether or not it's LifeLock or Aura, they're going to then help you fix it or correct the situation or problem. You're also going to get notifications like immediately if something's funky typically, or if there's like data breaches. You're also going to get like credit report scores and stuff like that. Gentlemen, you got to protect yourself. If you dug this video, drop me one of these. If you want me to talk about apartment buying and how to do it and make money if you can right now without actually buying it for 100% cash, down below say, yo, tell me about that. Gentlemen, you're amazing.